0313 local time. The Persian Gulf lies flat and black, indistinguishable from the sky above it. Aboard an Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer operating under 5th Fleet authority, a surface warfare officer scans 2 screens simultaneously. The ship holds steady at cruising speed. Manama's distant amber glow marks the horizon to the southwest. The tactical picture is unremarkable. Then a single operator in the ship's combat information center leans forward and does not lean back. New surface contacts. Northern bearing, bearing 037. The SPY-1D phased array radar aboard an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer does not sleep. It does not blink. It rotates its electronic beam hundreds of times per second, processing thousands of potential targets simultaneously and dismissing all but the ones that matter. Tonight, it finds the ones that matter. Thin return signatures, low altitude, accelerating off the northern coastline. The computer assigns each one a track number before any human being has raised an eyebrow. Speed increasing. Altitude below 100 feet. Multiple contacts. Inbound. The tactical display transitions from green to amber without ceremony. 0314. The air warfare coordinator calls the track count. Count 10. Stand by for profile classification. No one shouts. The ship's crew does not operate on adrenaline. They operate on repetition, on hours of drills conducted in ports and open water until the sequence of actions becomes reflex rather than thought. Condition 3 collapses into battle stations. Boots cross steel deck plates at a controlled run. Watertight hatches seal in sequence. The forward Mark 45 5-inch gun rotates several degrees to starboard with the quiet confidence of something that has done this before. Below the waterline, the vertical launch system cells complete their unlock cycle. 96 cells, each one a decision waiting to happen. The track count climbs, 13, 16, 19. Some contacts maintain sea-skimming altitude, riding just above the surface where radar returns blur with ocean clutter. Others climb briefly before descending in shallow ballistic arcs. This is not opportunistic harassment. The spacing is deliberate. The timing is coordinated. Someone on the other end of this launch sequence has studied fleet defensive doctrine. 0315. The Aegis combat system does not wait for committee consensus. It evaluates each track against known threat profiles, calculates intercept geometry, assigns weapon recommendations, and presents the fire control picture to the crew in a format that compresses hours of analysis into seconds of clarity. Time to closest point of approach for the lead contact, 3 minutes, 50 seconds. The ship is operating in international waters. The 5th Fleet maintains its headquarters in Bahrain as part of a decades-long security framework covering one of the most critical maritime corridors on Earth. Roughly 20% of the world's oil transits these waters. Tonight, the fleet anchoring that corridor is absorbing a coordinated strike attempt. Weapons free, the captain says. 2 words, no elaboration required. The first pair of SM-2 Block 3B surface-to-air missiles exits the forward VLS cells with a concussive bark that rolls across the water. Each missile carries a semi-active radar homing seeker and a 137-pound continuous rod warhead capable of shredding airframes at ranges exceeding 90 nautical miles. They climb in twin columns of white flame, arcing over the bow, then flatten into intercept geometry while the fire control radar continues painting the incoming tracks below. On the deck, topside watchstanders feel the heat displacement from the exhaust wash. The sky to the north flickers. 0316. Intercept confirmed. Splash 1, high debris scatter, harmless into open water. Splash 2. But the northern quadrant of the radar display does not clear. Additional tracks materialize at the edge of the detection envelope. The firing batteries have not stopped. The electronic warfare team activates the SLQ-32V6 suite. The system immediately begins radiating across known guidance frequencies used by Iranian cruise missile seekers, probing for the active radar signatures that tell a missile where its target is. It finds them. It begins injecting interference, not randomly but precisely, calibrated to degrade targeting resolution without revealing the full extent of American awareness. Deliberate confusion rather than blanket noise. There is a difference. New launch indications, a sensor technician reports. Coastal origin. Additional heat plumes, 0316 and 40 seconds. Track count, 24. This is saturation. The doctrine is straightforward in concept and difficult to execute. Overwhelm a ship's defensive capacity by forcing it to engage more targets than its magazine can handle. It has been war-gamed extensively. It is, in theory, a credible threat against any surface combatant that fights alone. The operative phrase is alone. The destroyer is not alone. 2 additional Arleigh Burke-class ships in the formation share sensor data across encrypted tactical networks in real time. What one ship's radar paints, every ship in the formation sees. The E-2D Advanced Hawkeye Airborne Early Warning Aircraft orbiting above the formation extends that radar picture several hundred miles beyond the horizon. The network does not have blind spots. It has depth, 0317. Track Sierra 19 inside outer engagement ring. Sea skimming profile, Mach 0.85, bearing 042. Time to impact, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. The engagement geometry shifts inward. Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, ESSM Block 2, launch in pairs from the forward launcher. Unlike the SM-2, which intercepts at altitude, ESSM is designed for the close fight, built to chase threats that hug the surface and compress reaction time to nothing. Its dual-pulse motor ignites both stages in sequence, producing a missile that accelerates aggressively and steers with precision at ranges inside 30 nautical miles. It doesn't so much intercept an incoming missile as meet it. Both tracks vanish from the display within 4 seconds of each other. 0318. Ballistic profile inbound. High arc. Probable medium-range system in terminal phase. Altitude decreasing rapidly. This is the weapon designed to defeat ships by falling on them from above, rather than racing at them from the horizon, exploiting the geometry of descent to arrive faster than a surface-based engagement sequence can handle. Against a ship fighting alone with 1990s combat systems, it represents a genuine kill probability. Against Aegis with SM-6 integration and offboard sensor queuing, the mathematics are different. Recommend SM-6. Engage. A single RIM-174 Standard Missile 6 exits the aft launcher and goes nearly vertical. The SM-6 is not a point defense weapon. It is a long-arm reach into airspace that most surface-to-air systems cannot touch, guided simultaneously by shipboard fire control and data-linked inputs from airborne radar platforms operating beyond visual range. The missile climbs hard, correcting course mid-flight as the targeting picture updates 3 times per second. Intercept high altitude. A concussion arrives several seconds after the flash, muffled by distance and atmosphere, more felt than heard. The ballistic track disappears, but the radar sweep immediately picks up 3 new low-altitude contacts lifting off the northern coastline. Sea skimmers. Wave 2. Total inbound contacts now 31. The captain stands without moving at the center of the bridge. His hands do not grip the console. He watches the horizon with the measured attention of someone who has already calculated the outcome and is now simply executing against it. Maintain course, he says. No adjustment, no evasion. Holding position transmits its own message. 0319. Range 22,000 yards to lead contact. Phalanx CIWS mounts completing warm-up cycle. The Phalanx Block 1B is 20 millimeters of automated lethality mounted on a white dome that looks, from a distance, slightly absurd. It is not absurd. 6 rotating barrels. A rate of fire approaching 4,500 rounds per minute. Its internal radar acquires, tracks, and engages without waiting for human input, because at the ranges where it operates, there is no time for human input. It is the final layer of a system built on the premise that some threats will get through everything else, and those threats will be met by tungsten at point-blank range. Mount 1 tracking, Mount 2 tracking. The first cruise missile breaks the horizon. A low, dark shape traveling faster than it appears, riding the surface returns like a stone skipping water. The forward phalanx mount opens up with a tearing mechanical roar, a sound less like a gun and more like the world's largest zipper being pulled at full speed. Tungsten penetrators form a dense geometric wall in the missile's flight path. The warhead detonates prematurely, 60 seconds short of the hull. Fragments enter the water at a shallow angle and sink. Splash, 0320. A second cruise missile adjusts its track slightly, angling to exploit the engagement envelope gap between the 2 phalanx mounts. It finds no gap. The aft mount tracks fires and the missile shreds apart at 1,800 yards, its debris field spreading across the surface in an expanding circle that collapses into nothing. A smaller radar return then appears at the edge of the eastern sector. Slower. Maneuvering. Not following a ballistic profile. Unmanned aerial vehicle. Possible terminal guidance platform. Adjusting vector. This is the piece of the attack architecture that matters beyond the missiles themselves. A loitering drone overhead can feed updated ship position data to incoming seekers, correcting for evasive maneuvers, tightening the targeting solution in the final seconds. It transforms a salvo from a fixed geometry problem into a dynamic one. Whoever designed tonight's operation understood that detail. Electronic spoofing engaged, the EW officer reports. The SLQ, 32 shifts from passive jamming to active deception, broadcasting a false positional signature intended to convince the drone's data link that the ship is 400 meters from its actual location. The UAV's track wavers on the display, its orbit losing coherence. The data it is transmitting is now wrong. The missiles receiving the data will fly to the wrong place. The drone steadies briefly, then drifts off axis. A short burst from the forward phalanx ends the contact. The track dissolves into static, 0321. No active inbound contacts inside 10,000 yards. Outer radar picture clear of new launch signatures. The count of neutralized contacts stands at 31. The count of impacts to the formation stands at 0. Inside CIC, the silence is not relaxation. It is reassessment. An intelligence specialist pulls triangulation data from the fire control picture. Multiple coastal battery coordinates now fixed within a 20 nautical mile belt. Launch sites cross-referenced against satellite imagery. Pre-surveyed, catalogued. These are not improvised positions. They were established well before tonight, stocked, manned, and held in reserve for a moment exactly like this one. The captain receives status reports from the formation. Other ships report successful intercepts across their own engagement zones. No battle damage across any hull. Propulsion systems green. Combat systems green. The fleet is intact. Above, 2 FA-18E Super Hornets from the carrier air wing check in on encrypted frequencies and push north, establishing a barrier patrol arc beyond the formation's radar horizon. Their presence communicates something that no diplomatic channel can convey with equivalent clarity. 0323. Infrared satellite imagery shows residual heat signatures at 3 coastal sites. Launchers that have not cooled. Vehicles that have not dispersed. Personnel who have not evacuated. The attack failed, but the infrastructure that executed it remains in position. The air warfare coordinator turns toward the captain. Sir, coastal sites still active. The captain looks at the tactical display. He does not look at it the way someone examines information. He looks at it the way someone confirms what they have already decided. Execute strike package. There is no dramatic shift in the room's atmosphere because the room's atmosphere has not changed. The crew moves with the same controlled deliberation they have maintained since 0313. Authorization codes transmit across secure channels. VLS hatches cycle open in the forward and aft cells. Tomahawk Block 5 cruise missiles, each carrying a 1,000-pound warhead and enough onboard intelligence to navigate at low altitude through defended airspace to a fixed coordinate, receive their final targeting updates. GPS terrain contour matching. Time on target synchronization, 0327. The first Tomahawks launch. They climb briefly, level out, and disappear northbound at low altitude. Engines steady, no visible flame at cruise speed, just shapes moving against the dark sky before the dark sky takes them. 20 nautical miles west, a second destroyer in the formation opens its own cells. More Tomahawks. Coordinated time-on-target sequencing ensures the strike arrives across multiple sites simultaneously, denying repositioning or evacuation windows. Above the formation, the E-2D Hawkeye tightens its orbit and feeds updated radar coverage to the carrier air wing. Strike Alpha, cleared inbound. 4 Super Hornets adjust heading north, descending to terrain masking altitude. Under their wings, GBU, 38 Joint Direct Attack munitions, programmed for hardened infrastructure. Flanking them, 2 EA-18G Growlers run electronic warfare pods, humming with jamming profiles built from the emissions data collected during tonight's attack. The Iranian coastal radar network attempts to reacquire targets as the Tomahawks enter their terminal corridors. The attempt lasts 11 seconds. 0334. First impact. A fixed radar array collapses inward, its signature disappearing from the electromagnetic spectrum mid-sweep. Second impact. A mobile launcher cluster that attempted to displace after the first wave received its targeting solution too late. Secondary explosions from stored munitions expand outward in thermal bloom. Strike Alpha reaches weapons release point. Growler jamming active. The coastal air defense network, already degraded, loses the coherent picture required to engage effectively. GBU 38 impacts are precise, deliberate, and contained. No overshoot. No adjacent structures. Command and control infrastructure struck. Launch vehicles struck. The radar coverage supporting the attack eliminated. 0340. Iranian fighter aircraft previously holding a distance bank north and accelerate toward their operating bases. They do not challenge the strike group. Surface combatants in the northern Gulf do not sortie. Electronic monitoring records a sharp reduction in coastal military communications. The strike package returns south. No aircraft lost. All weapons on target. The formation resumes standard patrol posture. The 5th Fleet flagship, operating deeper in the formation throughout the engagement, has not altered course once. 0412. Infrared satellites confirm 3 coastal battery positions degraded, 1 radar array destroyed, 2 mobile launcher clusters eliminated or burning. The electromagnetic signature of the northern coastline has gone quiet. The strike was not designed to start a war. It was designed to eliminate the capacity that started this one. By 0500, maritime traffic rerouted during the engagement window begins to normalize. Tankers resume their transit schedules. Cargo vessels cross back into established lanes under naval escort. The Gulf does not look like a battle space. It looks like a shipping corridor, which is exactly what it is supposed to look like. Inside CIC, log entries continue accumulating, each intercept time-stamped, each launch coordinate archived, each system performance metric recorded. Not for the debrief that will happen at sunrise, though that debrief will happen. But because in modern naval conflict, documentation is not bureaucratic formality. It is strategic currency. The engagement record becomes intelligence. The intelligence becomes future capability. Nothing that happened tonight is wasted. 0518. First light softens the eastern horizon from black to gray to the particular blue that precedes sunrise over open water. The Gulf surface catches it before the sky does. Debris from 31 intercepted missiles drifts in widely separated patches, already being mapped by the formation sensors for recovery and forensic analysis. Every fragment tells a story about guidance systems, warhead construction, manufacturing origin. The attack failed. The attack is still useful. The captain steps briefly onto the bridge wing. The air is warm and carries nothing unusual. No smoke, no sound beyond the ship's engines and the low percussion of the sea against the hull. He stands there for perhaps 30 seconds. They came with numbers, the operations officer says from the hatchway behind him. The captain does not turn. They didn't account for the network, he replies. He steps back inside. The final tally is not complicated. 31 inbound threats across 2 distinct attack waves, ballistic, cruise, and unmanned platforms employed in coordination. 0 impacts on any ship in the formation. 3 primary launch complexes degraded. 1 radar array destroyed. 2 mobile launcher clusters eliminated. Fleet operational readiness unchanged. The mathematics are not ambiguous. A saturation strike requires the engagement capacity of the target to be finite. It requires the target to be fighting alone with fixed resources and no external queuing. It requires the defensive layers to be predictable, the reaction time to be compressible, and the coordination between ships to be degradable. Tonight, none of those conditions existed. The Fifth Fleet does not hold this patrol corridor through posture or rhetoric. It holds it through radar coverage that extends beyond the horizon, through layered defensive systems that operate faster than human decision-making, through a combat network that treats information as ammunition and distributes both in real time. 31 missiles found that out. 3 coastal batteries confirmed it. By 0600, fishing vessels move along the shallows of the northern Gulf. Cargo vessels track their established lanes. The formation maintains its patrol pattern without deviation. Steady course, steady speed. The same coordinates it would have held on an uneventful night. Because in contested water, the point is not to be dramatic. The point is to still be there in the morning. The fleet is still there. The deterrence is not a statement issued after the fact. It is the ship on the horizon that was there before, was there during, and is there now. Consistent, measured, unambiguous. Steel does not need to raise its voice. Tonight, it didn't have to.